Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and I would like to apologize for the delay. But let us go ahead and commence, and I will go ahead and begin. I hereby call this meeting to order. The Tax Abatement Committee will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 28th at 6:16 p.m. via video conference. Meeting can be viewed at https://bit.ly/3hs/ypwa/ypw4 or by phone at 1-646-558-8656. Webinar ID 925-1374-7356. If a password is required, please contact alucas@newhavencity.gov, alucas@newhavencity.gov. Item 1, LM-2019-0760. Order concerning a real property taxes of Mary Abad on her motor vehicle tax account numbers 50233, 50156, 50160, 50234, 50155, and 50159. Item 2, Item 2, LM-2020-0096, order concerning real property taxes of Lucinda Allen on her motor vehicle tax account numbers 80422, 51488, and 51414. Item 3, LM-2020-0152, order concerning real property taxes of Edwin E. Evans on his motor vehicle tax account numbers 84911 and 66727. Item 4, LM-2020-0254, order abating deferred collection of real property taxes due from Robert J. Fiengo on his residence grand list of 2019. And item 5, LM-2020-0279, order the Board of Alders of the City of New Haven approving the execution of a tax abatement agreement between the City of New Haven and RMS 49 Prince Street LLC for property located at 49 Prince Street to be used as affordable housing in accordance with Connecticut General Statute, Section 8-215, City of New Haven Charter, Title 1, Article 4, Section 6, and the City of New Haven Code of General Ordinances, Sections 28-4. If you need a disability-related accommodation, please call 3 business days in advance at 203-946-8122 voice or 203-946-8582 TTY. This meeting can be viewed at https://bit.ly/3hsypw4 or by phone at 1-646-558-8656. Webinar ID 925-1374-7356. And again, if password is required, please contact alucas@newhavencity.gov. And now I would like to go ahead and introduce the members of the committee, and I'll go ahead and call you one by one. Alder Singh.
Alder Singh, Ward 5.
Alder Roth.
Abby Roth, Ward 7.
The Vice Chair of the committee, Alder Santiago.
Santiago, Ward 15.
Alder Ortiz.
Alder Ortiz, Ward 17.
Alder DeCola.
Incoming call. Press Uconnect phone button to answer. Phone call.
I also see Alder Douglas and Mr. Majority Leader, Alder Richard Furlow, who have joined us. And I would like to welcome everyone for participating in this committee. And once again, I would like to please pardon my delay, because I was having a little bit of technical difficulties getting in. But without further ado, I would like to ask Don or Al if there's anyone from item 1 or anyone that would like to come up speak on item 1.
Mr. Chair, I contacted Ms. Abad yesterday. She is on vacation and has requested that her request be at a future meeting.
Gotcha. Okay. I will go ahead and then move on to item 2, order concerning Lucinda Allen.
Again, Mr. Chair, I tried to contact her through email and telephone, leaving messages, and she never returned my call.
And do we know how many notices we've already sent out to her?
No, I believe this is the first one.
Okay, so maybe we'll move it to the next month or to a future date as item 1 as well. How about item 3 regarding Mr. Edwin Evans?
He should be on the phone, sir.
Okay, perfect. I'll go ahead and ask Mr. Evans if he can just join us and state your case. First of all, you're going to initiate, please, with your name and address for the record, and then you can state your case.
Okay, Edwin, hello everyone. Edwin Evans, 33 Shelton Avenue, apartment 3, New Haven, 06511.
Thank you very much, Mr. Evans, and you can go ahead and state your case and let us know exactly what you need us to do.
Yes, sir. I moved here from New York City, and I wasn't familiar with the taxes and the way it worked on the vehicle. So I didn't do the exemption paperwork in time, and I was charged a tax bill for I think 2017 and 2018, and then I found out that I could get an exemption because I'm a 100% disabled veteran. So I turned in the papers after the fact, and the assessor's office and Mr. Don told me to apply for the abatement. And I think when I talked to him a few days ago, they still hadn't put in the exemption. I believe it was because the COVID-19 problem started then, but I turned in all the paperwork for the exemptions, and I got the current tax bill 2 weeks ago.
Gotcha. Okay. So you certainly provided your paperwork, and first let me initiate by saying thank you for your service. I certainly appreciate that. And we will go ahead and is there anything further you would like to add?
No, sir. You're welcome. Also, no, sir. That's it.
So, okay. And do you have the total amount of? So Don, maybe you can help me with this. What was the amount that he's requesting? Because I don't have the numbers visible. What is the total tax exception that he's asking for?
Yes, his current taxes are $3,949.16, and it should be $2,799.47. That's with his $3,000 deductible for veteran. No, it's for the $9,000 for being 100% disabled. I took the 3 tax bills, multiplied the difference by the mill rate for that year, and that's how I came up with the different numbers. It is in the packet that I sent everybody.
Okay, I appreciate that. So what's the amount that we're going to be able to exempt them from?
The $1,149.69, and also to forgive the interest because of the delay in hearing his case.
So that's 1,149 with 69 cents. That's
Correct.
not including the interest.
It does not include the interest.
Okay. Do you have the interest by any chance?
No, I don't.
Okay, not a problem. So, Mr. Evans, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and proceed with the next articles. Well, I'm sorry, with the next items 4 and 5. If you have nothing further to add, we'll certainly, you can certainly stick around, or you can call Donald Hayden, and we'll actually make a determination by the end of the committee meeting to go ahead and either forgive the 1149.69 with the interest, or to simply make a decision based on your case. So you can certainly reach to us tomorrow as far as to know what exactly we did as a committee.
Okay, I'll give Don a call tomorrow.
Very good. So
okay.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your service, Mr. Evans.
Thank you for that, Alder Douglas. I would like to now go ahead and have anyone who's going to speak on behalf of item 4 for the real property deferring collection for Mr. Robert Fiengo. Anyone, Donald?
No, sir. He is a repeat request. He still meets the state requirements for the tax abatement program as being too poor to pay.
Gotcha.
Again, if you have the memo I sent to you, you've got his financials on the back.
Gotcha. Okay, and then without any further ado, let's go ahead and go on to item 5 and see who will be speaking on behalf of this item.
Good evening, Chair Crespo and members of the Tax Abatement Committee. My name is Carolyn Cohn, and I am the counsel for the owner and the developer, RMS 49 Prince Street. Oh, would it be, I can see you have my materials that I sent. Should I try to share my screen? Does that make it easier or?
Certainly,
Okay.
Don or Al, we can provide.
I guess I'm disabled from that.
Let me see if I can go ahead and.
You can do it now.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Let's see if I can get my materials. Oh, that's terrific. So as I said, my name is Carolyn Cohn, and I'm counsel for RMS 49 Prince Street LLC. And with me tonight is Randall Salvatore, who's the principal in the owner and developer of 49 Prince Street. And I live at 131 West Park Avenue in the Edgewood section of New Haven. And I practice law at 271 Whitney Avenue in New Haven. So this, what you have in front of you is an overview of the Downtown South Hill North project. And this is the very last parcel to be developed. And if just for orientation, this is a very old development agreement between the city and 2 prior developers from 1989. And Mr. Salvatore took it over in 2016. And there were 11 parcels, and he has turned that into 5 separate developments. So to the left of the parcel in purple is the one that we're here to talk about tonight, and that's 49 Prince Street, and it was the former Welch Annex School. Many of you may be familiar, and we have some pictures of it. To the left or the southwest is 4 parcels actually, that have become what's known as 22 Gold Street. And it is 110 units, and it's all been developed, and it's being leased and occupied. It's a mixed use building. To the northeast, we'll say up here, is 216 Congress, which is in the process of being developed, is almost finished, and that's 90 apartment units. To the south of that, these 3 parcels are what's known as 248 Lafayette, and that's 104 units, and that's also under construction. And then all the way to the southeast near Tower 1, Tower East building is 9 Tower Lane, and that's going to be 223 units, and that's also mixed use building. So we're here tonight because Prince Street is, the 49 Prince Street is going to be 100% affordable. The other projects have, some of them like 22 Gold is 30%, and the Congress, 216 Congress will also have a number of affordable units, but 49 Prince Street will be 100% affordable. And just let's see, we'll go to the next slide. This is my very first time doing this, but as you can see, the building is in very, very poor condition. And Mr. Salvatore will talk more about what he plans to do with this building. But here are 4 slides that just show what really terrible shape it's in. It was built in 1933. It was an orphanage and a nursery, and then it became in the 60s a New Haven public school, and then it was used by Amistad Academy for several years. But for at least the last 6 years, it's been abandoned and is in really terrible shape. It's very expensive to do this kind of rehabilitation, and I will get you the budget very soon. But also the State Historic Preservation Office has is interested in preserving the building. So there are a number of requirements in terms of window replacement and items within the building, the staircase entrance and other items which they're requiring be restored to historic standards. So the building will have 30 units, 8 studios, 4 one-bedrooms and 8 two-bedrooms. And in addition, and this is important for the legal standards for the LISTA application, a number of amenities. There'll be laundry rooms for the studios. The 1 and 2 bedrooms have in washer dryers within them. Storage rooms, community living rooms with couches and TVs, group meeting spaces, a reading room, library, 2 outside gardens, on-site parking for 8 spaces. The residents will also be able to use the parking at 22 Gold, lots of bike parking, a nice new decorative fence. It requires a great deal of work on the outside. In addition to the replacement of the windows, it's going to have a brand new elevator, new brick and stone trim need to be repaired, all new doors which have to be historically appropriate. So the next slide shows you the overall, well, it doesn't show you, shows you the back of the building. Oh, I guess I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm sorry. The floor plan, which lays out some of these amenities and the prices. But here's the budget for the $7.7 million budget. And because there's a fair amount of financing, there's low income tax credits. There's a Chaffel loan in the amount of $3.7 million. There's a Department of Housing loan, and there's a City of New Haven CDBG funds all going in to assist in the work that needs to be done, and also the ability to have affordable housing. This budget has been scrutinized very, very carefully by the underwriters at Chafa and the Department of Housing. And the next slide, if I do this correctly, no, sorry, shows what the rents will be, the initial rents. And the initial rents, you'll see there 25% of the area median income. 2 studios will be set aside for that, and the rent will be $398. And then there's 6 studios for 50% AMI, 10 studios for 60%, 1 bedrooms for 60% AMI, and 2 bedrooms for 60% AMI. We did not set those rents. Those rents are set by Chafa and the Department of Housing, and all rent increases have to be approved by those state agencies. And the rents are set forth, and the affordability is for 42 years. And there are documents on the land records that restrict that require that it be maintained 100% affordable. So
Attorney,
what we're asking,
before you continue, can you just, pardon my ignorance, can you tell me what AMI stand for?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you say the?
It's area median income, Alder.
Thank you.
Is what AMI stands for.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, area median income. That's correct. And it's set by the New Haven area. So it's set by HUD, sets it, and they require that it be a certain amount for New Haven. So what we're asking for, and what is also been very carefully scrutinized by the state agencies, is $749.10 for each unit for the taxes, with a 3% annual increase. And that figure comes about both by looking at all of the expenses that I've described, and also we looked at what the Board of Alders have done in the past for the 16 Miller program. This is in excess per unit of that program. And the Clock Factory, this is almost twice as much per unit than the Clock Factory. So we tried to do something that was in line with what your committee and the board has done in the past, and also fit within the underwriting guidelines. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Salvatore and then come back with your indulgence, Ann, to just go through the legal standards for the Lister program. So,
Very good.
Sure. Thank you, Carolyn. This is Randy Salvatore. Hopefully you can hear me. Carolyn, I think Carolyn gave the overview of the whole development that we've been working on for a number of years, going back and started with obviously a lot of community interaction, and then finally an approval by the alders, and then we've been executing that plan. And actually, so far we're probably looks like going to be about 2 years ahead of schedule of what we had hoped to do, and we're really excited about the way it's turning out. Essentially, creating activity in an area where there wasn't before. And we've been fortunate and able to provide the affordable housing on the other projects as well. This project is a little bit different than the others in that, as Carolyn described, it's a renovation of an old school, which was in dire need of renovation and had great architectural character as well. So that's why the idea of tearing it down was not really an option. And as we looked at this site, unfortunately, the cost of renovating a structure like this is far in excess of building a new construction site. And the whole building, I believe, is only about 25,000 square feet. So when you do figure out what possible income or rent you can get from it based on the cost of it, it doesn't work in a typical market scenario. So the only way for it to work was with a funding source such as what Carolyn has shown in this package laid out, which is Department of Housing funding, Jaffa funding, City of New Haven funding, and even with all that, it was short. And then I loaned the project some money, which would be a long-term loan on it. And the way these deals work is that—
Before you continue, if I
Sure.
could just have your name and address for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Randy Salvatore, RMS Companies, and 1 Landmark Square, Stamford, Connecticut. That's
I
my
appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
And so the way these deals work is that the way Jaffa and Department of Housing, they're the ones who really are involved in working up these budgets to make sure it all works. And in the end, they want to do is to break even. So any excess cash flows by the rents minus the expenses, those don't go to me as a developer. They never would. They simply are there just to make the deal, make sure that it's able to provide the affordable housing for I believe it's 30 years in this case. It's either 30 or 40 years is what
42.
42.
42 years. So their goal is just to make sure that the rents minus the expenses will allow this to work for that 42-year period. This is not a for-profit, quote unquote, venture for a developer. From my perspective, this was really important to me, this deal, and we spent a lot of time. I know, Serena, we worked on this for literally 3 years, back and forth. First, we didn't get the funding, and then we kept going back again. It was really because this building, which has the architectural significance, looked like, as you could see from the pictures, and unfortunately, it would, in the end, bring down the whole neighborhood that we were all trying to elevate to what it was at one time. So that was really the genesis for this whole project, and continues to be. And as they put together, develop the budget, obviously the taxes become one of those expenses. And so therefore this type of a tax type of a program was necessary. But as Carolyn mentioned, it didn't need to go to the level of some of your other deals that you've done with this because of the way the whole budget's worked out. So it's really what the ask for is the minimum that's required to make these budgets work in the so that it can provide this affordability for that 42 years. So that's this deal in a nutshell. And the overview. Happy to answer any questions that anyone has on it. I'm certainly not an expert in these type of financial structures. This is the first tax deal that I've done in terms of this, and low-income housing tax credit, the first deal. So it's been a learning experience for me for sure, and a long process, but we're happy we got the funding, and we're happy that we're able to now complete the 5th parcel, or work towards completion of the 5th parcel of the development.
If I could just add a couple of pieces to that, for many of you who have been around since we started the Hill to Downtown plan and worked through the board to get this LDA created with RMS, it has been a a really, actually a very good road, because as Randy expressed and Carolyn, we are on the 5th building and well above schedule in terms of our LDA in getting these buildings completed. Part of the major components of that LDA were the affordable components that RMS agreed to work with the city and the state and others to get done. And I have to say that they have delivered. And this one is very important to all of us because it is an historic building, and the elements of the building make this project wonderful. The big piece of that is it's 100% affordable. And as you all know, our mission is to create affordable units where we can, and working with Randy through this and the other buildings that are all beautiful buildings. I think many of you have seen them. If you've not, you need to take a tour on the work that they're doing, and providing resource and providing units for our affordable tenants here in the city. So this one we're very proud of because it's the last one and it's 100% affordable. The number is something that we need desperately. So we are very excited about this movement and getting it done.
Serena, well, I appreciate your input. If I could just have your name and address for the record, please.
I forgot that part. Serena Neil San Giorgio, Executive Director of LCI, 31 Marvel Road, New Haven, Connecticut.
I appreciate it. And I thank you for providing your endorsement for this particular deal that pretty much per Attorney Cohen and the principal Salvatore, it's something that is needed. But I'll go ahead and allow you guys to continue to provide any additional pieces that you want to talk about tonight before I allow the committee to inquire as to anything.
Thank you very much. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was the law as a lawyer. So this tax abatement is a part of a program under a state statute, which is 8, as you read, Connecticut General Statutes 8-215. And I put on the screen the Code of Ordinances 28-4, and there's a certain number of requirements that we must meet to be entitled to this tax abatement, and I believe that we meet all of them. So we must be assisted by state or federal statutes. So we talked about the CDBG funds, the federal low-income housing tax credits, and the Department of Housing and the CHAFA loans. The rents must be subject to regulation by a government agency under a regulatory agreement which restricts occupancy to persons whose income doesn't exceed, and that's ours is way below this, 80% of the area median income. Ours, as you saw, with 25%, that's considered very low to low, the 50 and 60% of what we call AMI. We need to spend at least $15,000 per unit. I figured we're spending about $425,000 per unit. The tax abatement has to be used for one or more of the following purpose: to reduce the rents below the levels which would be achieved in the absence of the abatement. And I think we've established the rents are going to be really low. Or to improve the quality and design of the project. And as we talked about, we're going to, respect the historical aspects of this building and bring it back to life. And that's the next slide. To affect the occupancy of the building by persons and families of varying income levels. And as we said, it's going to be 25% to 60% of the area median income, and provide the necessary related facilities and services for the project. And I had talked a little bit before about the amenities, the gardens and the living rooms, and the laundry rooms and storage facilities. And just in terms of the schedule for all of this, and this is what the project is supposed to look like when it's done. I think Randy is talking about doing 1 year starting next month and finishing a year later.
That's correct. Hopefully sooner, hopefully even sooner than that, but that's what we're saying now.
Very good. Anything further you want to add before I open up the floor to my fellow colleagues for questions? Okay, and I guess I'll initiate the conversation with, given that it's going to be about a year, what's the likelihood that this development will occur within a year, given the complexity of it and given the having to replace magnitude, and you're investing $435,000 per unit, and 30 units in total. I think that's going to be pretty extensive. What's the likelihood of actually being completed within that year? If approved, of course.
So I don't want to say 100%, but I'm going to say 99.99%. I'm very confident that we can do that based on what we've done in the other projects here. So extremely confident. And the other thing, because once we're now starting at the right time of the year too, to be able to enclose the site. So weather won't be an issue as we go through the winter. So extremely confident that we can execute and do it. And so.
Okay. And then another one, which I'm certain that my colleague from the 50th Ward actually would appreciate, because we are heavily on ensuring that local talent is hired, that local organizations, corporations, contractors. Have you considered providing the local hiring initiatives for people that are?
I can answer that, and Randy could supplement.
Sure.
So, as we said before, this whole project is part of a development agreement with the City of New Haven Redevelopment Agency. So we're required to hire on labor a certain number of New Haven residents, 6.9% women laborers, 25%, Randy, for minority laborers, number of New Haven residents. We're required to engage subcontractors, 25%, SBEs and MBEs for the work. And I think, and Serena, you can help me, but I've been told by Michael Piscatelli that the RMS companies have done a really good job meeting those requirements on the other parcels within the development.
Based on the information that we receive from city agencies that are doing the monitoring, they are doing a stellar job, and also worked with New Haven Works in terms of placing folks into the structure, into the construction part of this job as well. So we've done all due diligence in terms of what our LDA calls out, and all of those components were included in that. So we're very excited about continuing this work.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I think they answered the question, and this project would be no different in terms of that. And so
and it's required to be,
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I'm glad because it's an awesome thing to know that contractors and developers are privy to the requirements, because sometimes they may just not be fulfilled because they probably lack the information. They don't have the knowledge that it exists. But I'm glad that you guys are completely on board and up to par with, of course, Attorney Cohen. You've had extensive experience working within the city, so I can appreciate that you're aware. And at this point, I'll just open up the floor to my fellow colleagues. I don't see any hands up, but if you want to raise your hand, I recognize Alder Roth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for presenting. I do have a few questions, but first I just wanted to thank you for this project. Obviously, we need affordable housing. I work in this neighborhood and live in downtown, and so when I was physically going into my office, have been watching the development over time, and it really, I mean, Hill to downtown, it really does make those two areas of the city feel very connected. And the fact it's a beautiful building, and there's not enough historic preservation in our city, so I appreciate that is happening. I guess, so I do have a few questions. So as I said, I'm curious what the current taxes on the building are, and sort of kind of what the differential will be once with the abatement versus what it currently is.
Right now, right now, up until we ended up through all this funding, we just purchased the property, I guess about a few weeks ago, I believe. But prior to that, there was no taxes because the city of New Haven owned it. So Carolyn can probably give the information of maybe what it would be. Carolyn?
Yeah. So I don't know. I would have to do the math on what it would be.
Right.
But the land is right. The land in this rundown building is right now, I believe, assessed for $1.8 million. So
Can-
I'm not sure does that sound wrong, Randy?
Can I just add that on the 20th, the Lista Committee, that's the committee that reviews the applications that come in to this for recommendation to this committee. We did a review of the package that was submitted by RMS, and we also, Alex is on the phone, I see. Alex actually did some numbers to talk a little bit about, can't hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah. Alex did some numbers that based on the current assessment and what the taxes over the 17 years would yield. So Alex, if you could just jump in and give us that.
Yeah, looking at the
Alex,
actual,
just
yep,
give me your name and address for the record, please.
Alex Pullen, 6 Pequot Avenue, North Haven, Connecticut, the acting assessor.
Thank you.
So currently, as the building stands or as the land stands, I believe that they're paying about $56,000 in taxes, and that's based on a $1,276,660 assessment that the property's at now before it's actually developed. So if you're looking, the way that we looked at this was what the taxes would be over the entire 17-year period. Under year 1 and under year 2, they're going to be under construction. So they're still going to be frozen at that base assessment. So they're paying exactly what they are paying in taxes now for the first 2 years. Now, under the proposed agreement, they would be paying $22,473 in year 1. But with that escalating 3% per year, in that last year, they'd be paying $36,062. Now, if you look at that over the 17-year period, including the 2 years that they would be under construction, so really we're looking at a 19-year period, including the construction phase, that would mean that this project would pay, in the end, hold on, give me 1 second. It would be about $601,000. So that's what they would be paying altogether over a 19-year period with this new proposed tax agreement. Now, had this been a market rate project, we looked at what the taxes would have been over the same 19-year period, and we believe that the taxes would equate to roughly $1.7 million in taxes over that same 19-year period. Now, this is just assuming that someone were to come in and build this same project only market rate, when in actuality, prior to the developer coming in, this was city property that was receiving no tax dollars because it was exempt.
Thanks, Alex. And part of the work in terms of when we were initiating the LDA for the acquisition of this property, we actually did an RFP, and RMS was the only responder to this. So we didn't have a whole bunch of folk looking at, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
I can hear,
Yes.
I can see Alder Santiago cannot.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Excellent. And so that was, there were no other bidders for this property. The building was in pretty bad shape. So, and we have been maintaining and spending thousands of dollars a year to maintain and clean it up.
Great. I thank you for walking through that. That's helpful to hear. I guess I'm also curious why the 17 years. I know there's the 42-year affordability requirement. So if you could maybe just explain where that number comes from.
It's part of the application process for this program. The rules say it can be 15 years. The state statute says 32 years, but when the city adopted it, their rules say 15 years, but if you're doing a major rehab, it can be 17 years. So given that this was an affordable housing project and very expensive, we wanted to get as much as we could. So
Sure. No, I had seen 39 years in something I read, so I was just,
I think that you're right. I think in the statute, it's much longer,
Yeah, it is.
but the application used to limit it to 17 years. And that again, we looked to see what Miller Street had done, and they had done 17 years. So we tried to mirror what you had been comfortable with in the past.
and just a few more questions. I know that in the budget document, there is a line that my notes here are a little messy, but it has the parenthetical, it's developer like overhead profit. And I know in the remarks, it was said that sort of no money goes to the developer, but an allowance, a fee of 11.1%. So maybe just explain what that is.
Sure. So what I was referring to was money at the end of any cash flows in the deal. If the taxes are higher or lower, it doesn't get to it. What that refers to is when you structure these deals, you put together the complete budget. And this basically covers through the process, because we've already expended significant amount for the 3 years through there. We also, the developer fee would get paid technically out over the 15 years as long as the project was there. And the other thing is, sorry, my computer keeps going off where I have the numbers here. So we also have put back that money, if you look at the special limited member equity up top. So when you really look at it, if you break it down to the profit and fees and all, there's really no profit at all because the money went in as equity into the deal at the top. Also, we have a loan which has no real ability to get paid. The limited equity doesn't come back. And the other stuff covers our cost for the past 3 years through this process. And then we still have to asset manage it over the affordability period, or I think 15 years of the affordability period, which that's all part of it as well. So that's really what that number is, but it's broken up of those different components as it came in. So.
Thank you. And I'll just ask one more question for now and then defer to my colleagues. I'm just curious, once kind of who you have found are moving into the affordable units that you already have and kind of how just needs in the Hill neighborhood, would it be folks from New Haven who you'd be trying to encourage to move into these units? Obviously you can't restrict it to people from New Haven, but.
So obviously we don't know until we do it, depending on what, the rent levels and so on. But part of the process, and we have an outside manager that will do this because as I said, we don't do this type of we're just not, we don't have the expertise in order to manage it and to make sure we're in compliance with all these different things. So the outside manager, part of the requirements of it and part of the practicality of it, does major advertisement out there, whether it's online, through newspaper ads, through whatever it might be. And all that advertising, particularly the print stuff, is all local, obviously. Digital, people can pick it up from wherever they pick it up. And then out of that process, and then there's also, I believe, and Serena, you might know better than me, but there's a notification to all the agencies around of the availability of the housing and so on. So they'll do all that. And from there, I believe it's first come, first serve. People will submit their applications and then one by one, they go through it and qualify. And just because you applied doesn't mean you qualify for the various bands and so on. So I know it's a very exciting, and that's why I said we don't have expertise. We don't do it ourselves. We hire an outside company to manage that process. So I really can't tell you. I would say it probably will be more geared towards New Haven people because that's where the outreach is going.
And we have a relationship with the management company and in terms of doing referrals to the building through that company. And on the other side of that, because we are a funder and because we are the monitoring agency for the city around affordable housing units, we get an annual report, which we receive into our offices, and we can see who's on there and their income levels and that kind of thing as well. So we monitor these projects as they go along. So annually we get that. We just got one for gold, which is the first building that to be completed. So we're excited about the numbers. We're excited about the tenants that are moving in, and have had no problems with folks that we've referred to the first building, and actually trying to actively recruit for the second building right now. So we're working in tandem with them almost every day.
Yeah, and nor have we, quite honestly. It's been a great process. The whole mixed income approach has worked. In the Gold Street building, there's 110 apartments and 33 of them are affordable apartments, and it's worked amazingly well across the board. So it's been great.
Thank you for answering my questions, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you, everybody, for the information. Anybody else has any questions, if you could just raise your hand. Or I guess I'll just go around and Alder Singh, you're okay? No further questions? You're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a comment. I want to say thank you to LCI, Serene, and Salvador for Hills Downtown project. And I'm elated to see this building has been restored so we could, see an original landmark there. The second phase of it will be an affordable housing, and third, New Haven Works has been involved in it. So I want to commend you guys for working together for bringing this project to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alder Ortiz, any questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you, everyone, for the great presentation. I'm very optimistic that this would be a great project that much needed in New Haven. Thank you again for the presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I will recognize the fellow alders that have joined us, and I certainly invite them to the table to also ask questions if they have them. So I'll ask Alder DeCola, any questions?
No questions at this time. Great project.
Thank you. Mr. Majority Leader Furlow. No questions there. My colleague.
I'm all set, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Mr. or Alder Douglas, any questions, concerns, comments?
No questions, but just like to reiterate, yes, I think this is a fine project. This is a long time coming. Glad to see that the affordable housing piece is carved out of that. Randy, we appreciate what you're doing over there. Thank you.
Thank you for your support for all these years, going back to Chapel Street. Thank you.
That's right. You're welcome.
Thank you, Alder Douglas. So seeing none, I'll go back one more time. And Alder Roth, any additional questions, follow-up questions?
No, I think I'm set. Thank you.
Excellent. So I guess you guys are all set with the presentation. I want to say thank you for the information and certainly a project that's well needed in this community. The fact that all the units are 100% affordable, it is great news to hear. And the fact that you are 99.99.
I'm going to take that 1%. Let's make it 100.
Okay. So because it's something, I guess given the scenario that certain projects can be delayed rather significantly, we want to ensure that this is done in a timely fashion. You certainly want to go ahead and house individuals that are in need, and I will always advocate for people in New Haven, but of course we want to open up for people that are pretty much in need. But at this time, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you all so much.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. So now I guess I will go ahead and open up I'll ask anyone from the public if you have any comments, if you have any concerns, any questions on any of the items that have been discussed in front of this committee. If you have any inquiries, any concerns, if you want to speak about item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this would be the time to do so. And Don, I don't know if there's anybody in the public that's listening that would like to be joining us.
I don't know. I have to ask Al if anybody is.
Al, if there's anyone, I'll go ahead.
Nope.
I'll make a second announcement. If anybody from the public wishes to speak on any of the items presented, from twice. If anybody from the public wish to testify on any of the items that we just spoke about this evening, 3 times, I will entertain a motion to close the public portion of this meeting.
I move to close the public portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Very good. So the motion has been set to close the public portion. If everybody is in agreement, please say it with an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? I believe the items pass. So thank you so much. The public portion has been closed. Now I will go ahead and entertain any motions.
I move item number 3.
Go get a second.
Second.
Very good. Thank you for moving item 1, Alder off, and being seconded by Alder Singh. I will go ahead and now, anyone has any comments for item 1? Well, actually, very quickly, Mr. Abad is, or I'm sorry, Madam Abad, Mary Abad, she is unable to participate in this particular meeting, so we will go ahead and reschedule it. So I'll go ahead and, Don, anything that we need to do as a committee, or can we
No.
just the next?
Basically, you just said that it's going to another meeting.
Very good.
That's fine.
So we'll go ahead and move item LM-2019-0760 to the next committee meeting scheduled for next month. Thank you. I'll entertain further motions.
Item number 3 for discussion.
Are you moving that item? I'll just say
Yes. Yes.
when I get a second.
Second.
Thank you. So item 3, this is going to be for the veteran, Mr. Edwin Evans. I understand that the tax exemption was $3,949.16. Actually, the new figure that I got here was $1,149.69 plus interest. What say you, committee? What you're saying, I'll go ahead and, since this is your motion, I'll certainly open up the floor for you.
I can, Dawn or someone touch, I didn't get a chance to review the veteran tax abatement for Mr. Evans, which is $9,000. That's go annually?
If I might, it's for a 3 tax year period, 2017 grand list, 2018 and 2019. There was a difference of $231.64 based on his 10,500% disability. There's a $457.30 for GL18 for the same reason, and a $460.75 for this current year. And that is based on his 100% disability deduction. That's the total of $1,149.69.
And forgive me for that, Mr. Chair, and our ordinance make the requirement for veterans with full disability to give them the credit for such a tax.
I believe so, yes. Given his 100% disability and qualifying for as a veteran, Don, I believe the $1,149.69 would be acceptable by ordinance. Or Al, if you want to correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that is correct.
And then, of course, how can we ensure that the interests are also considered?
If you vote to forgive the interest, it will be put into the order that way.
Beautiful. That's perfect. Say no more. Alder Singh, any further questions or comments?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, it hasn't go over his 9,000, so I'm satisfied with that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Alder Roth, I saw your hand up.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just want to say, it seems like we definitely should forgive the interest because he shouldn't have had to have owed that money because of his, he qualifies under the statute for the lower rate.
I agree. Anything else? Further, Alder Roth? Okay, very good. Alder Ortiz, any comments, concerns, or anybody from the committee?
Nope, I'm in agreement of the forgiveness.
So the committee suggests that we forgive 1,149 with 69 cents and all of the interest for Mr. Edwin Evans. Okay, so then I guess I will go ahead and entertain a motion for that particular item.
I make a motion. I make a motion that we forgive the owed taxes
Mhm.
and the interest to Mr. Evans on his property.
Elder Douglas, if I can make a friendly amendment to incorporate taxes, meaning 1,149.69 cents.
That is correct.
Okay, very good. Do I get a motion on the second, on the friendly amendment? Is that a second?
Second.
Thank you. So now the friendly amendment is that for Alder Douglas and myself, we will forgive 1149.69 with the interest. And I will go ahead and say, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, item 3 has been approved to forgive the total of 1149 with 69 cents and the interest.
I
Anyone?
move item number 4.
Item number 4 has been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
You have 4.
Oh, sorry, my computer, I think somehow it I couldn't hear for a second. I didn't realize you had called the chair. I think this person qualifies under the standards for the abatement, and so I would support giving him the abatement.
Second.
Anyone else? Any other comments, questions?
Mr. Chair, again, he falls within the city guidelines again, this gentleman here with this property. I just want to make sure that we are within the guidelines of the city ordinance.
Yes. So according to this, he has come before this committee prior, and he has met and he continues to meet the state requirement as being too poor to pay. So we certainly can agree that he is in compliance and he certainly qualifies to be exempted from the fair and collection of his real property for the list.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Very good. So motion to defer the collection for item number 4 for Mr.
Aye.
Bingo.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the item passes. So we will go ahead and we will defer the collection of real property taxes from Mr. Fiengo for his grand list 2019. Now, before we continue, I'll go ahead and for item number 2 for Mrs. Lucinda Allen, we'll go ahead and move her for next week. I'm sorry, forgive me, for the following meeting, along with Ms. Mary Abad. And then
1 and 2.
so they can go ahead and stick the case before this committee. I'll entertain a motion for number 5.
I move item number 5.
Will hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. What say you, committee, with regards to the item number 5 and approving the execution of the tax abatement agreement between the City of New Haven and RMS 49 Prince Street LLC for the property of 49 Prince Street regarding the 30 affordable housing units that were going to be rebuilt within the time frame of a year. The cost would be $7,776,546. They've broken down the bedrooms being consisted of 1 to 2 bedrooms. They're going to have several studios. They're going to have outside parking. They're going to have library, meeting room, bike parking, decorative fences. They're going to have extensive stuff. They're going to do extensive exterior and internal modifications, including the $425,000 per unit. They're going to also go ahead and do doors that are pretty much historically appropriate for the building, as well as fitting them with new windows. They're going to certainly be doing a lot of work that is needed in this community. that is appreciated in the community and that will certainly help the community. So I would entertain any suggestions that you will go ahead and provide at this time. Alder Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just a few thoughts. I mean, clearly affordable housing is a huge need in our city. This is part of a bigger project that has been very successful. I think the developer has a very good track record and has been working closely with the city. I think it's a beautiful building. You know, and the reality is, like, while if it were market rate, it would be bringing in more money for the city. It has been sitting there. No one is about to buy it. The city is spending money, as we were told, keeping the maintenance up. And I mean, the reality is, in order for there to be affordable housing, to make it work money-wise, there has to be some sort of subsidy in the tax abatement, and this sort of ties in with all the state grant money. And so yeah, I think it's very needed and would be a positive thing. And I really do walk when I was going to work. I'm there all the time, and seeing the change over the year has been, I mean, there's been a new little places to eat that have opened, and I think it spurs having more people live there, makes it safer by having people walking around. It brings small businesses. It has a lot of spin-offs that are positive for the economy more broadly, and so I think there's those benefits that come with it as well.
Excellent. I agree. And the fact that, just like you stated, it's just sitting there. But now, per the Mr. Allen's comments, I believe per unit is going to be $749.10 of taxes per unit. And I believe by the end of the 17 year or 19 year, there's going to be a 600,000 taxes paid to the city, which is something that we can utilize in the city.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in support of this project. Just the historic value of this project, you know, it's a landmark. It was an orphanage, and then it turned into a school and appropriately become an affordable housing. And I'm not a preservationist, but it's appropriate to, you know, to restore and preserve some of our historic architecture in the city. So with that said, I am fully supportive of this project, especially of the affordable housing piece and the job piece for New Haven residents who pay for the work. So again, I fully support of this project. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Singh. And just one more thing to add. I believe that the fact that it's a requirement, they're going to hire talent, you know, the contractors, subcontractors, that is something that we promote and that we can promote. We certainly want to go ahead and increase the wealth instantly. We will bring resources to our community. We have the individuals provide the work, and then after that, we can house people within the community. So that is certainly one of the benefits of having a project such as this. And there was one more thing that I wanted to add, which was, I think it is so. I without any further discussion, if Alder Ortiz, Alder Douglas, if anyone else has anything else to contribute. If not,
Alder Santiago might have something, not sure.
yes. Alder Santiago, Mr. Vice Chair. We are currently discussing item number 4, which is the item.
Five.
Number 5.
Thank you for item 5.
Item
Regarding
5.
the City of New Haven approving the execution of a tax abatement agreement between the city and 49 Prince Street LLC.
Like we lost him, so go ahead.
Okay. If no further comments, questions, or concerns, a motion to approve item 5 and to approve the execution of the tax abatement agreement between the City of New Haven and RMS 49 Prince Street LLC. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the item number 5, the Prince Street LLC project.
Go ahead.
Second.
Thank you. And without, we had discussion, but given that we already spoken about this significantly, I'm going to go ahead and ask all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. So the item 5 passes, and thank you, committee, and thank you, Al and Don. I appreciate your support. I appreciate Mr. Majority Leader for joining us, as well as our other colleagues for participating in this tax abatement committee. And thank you for your patience for my glitch earlier today. And if there's anything further, of course, we're here to collaborate. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, no discussion needed for this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful
Thank
rest
you,
of the day.
committee.
Thank you, all
Great.
commit members.
Take
Great
care.
job.
Great job.
Good job, everyone.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Al. Thank you all.
Thank you, Al.